During Japan's invasion of China in the 1930s and 1940s, particularly during the Second Sino-Japanese War, 1937 to 1945, the Imperial Japanese Army used chemical weapons, despite international laws prohibiting such actions. These attacks were part of a broader strategy to weaken Chinese resistance, targeting both soldiers and civilians. Japan's use of poison gas is less well known than other atrocities, but it was a brutal and systematic effort. Japan had signed the 1925 Geneva Protocol, which banned the use of chemical and biological weapons, but the Japanese military largely ignored these restrictions. Throughout the conflict, Japan deployed chemical agents such as mustard gas and tear gas in various battles, including the Battle of Wuhan and others in central China. Mustard gas caused severe burns, respiratory problems, and often slow, painful deaths for those affected. Tear gas, though less deadly, was used to incapacitate troops and drive them out of fortified positions. The poison gas attacks were carried out via artillery shells, grenades, and air raids, often in densely populated civilian areas. The Japanese military targeted both Chinese troops and civilians, contributing to the already immense suffering caused by the war. In some instances, gas was used as a tool to demoralize Chinese forces, who lacked adequate protection or countermeasures against chemical warfare. The use of poison gas was part of Japan's broader war crimes during the Sino-Japanese conflict, which included biological warfare experiments by Unit 731 and the infamous Nanjing Massacre. While the exact number of victims of these chemical attacks is unclear, it is believed that thousands of Chinese soldiers and civilians were killed or injured by the poison gas. After World War II, the Japanese government did little to acknowledge or take responsibility for its use of chemical weapons in China. The issue remained relatively hidden for years, and it wasn't until much later that survivors and historians began to bring attention to these war crimes. Even today, the legacy of Japan's chemical warfare in China is a sensitive and underexplored topic in both countries' histories. This aspect of Japan's wartime actions highlights the extent of the brutality inflicted on China during the invasion, making it one of the darker episodes of 20th-century warfare.